Welcome to the HabitStack podcast, where we talk to fellow leaders who are in the trenches, building their business in the here and now, learning lessons, hot off the press. Because, it's interesting to talk to people who have succeeded in the past. There's lots of lessons there. But what this is about is hearing from people who are doing it right now and are in the thick of things. I'm Scott Ward, founder of HabitStack. I'm here today with Chris Tompkins, CEO of the Go Agency and host of the Bulletproof Marketer Podcast. Chris, thanks for coming on the show with me.
Yeah, Scott, thank you so much. Great to be here.
Yeah, it's something that I like to understand or hear right off the top is always the
Mhm.
kinds of things that you're learning about these days, Chris. What are you reading? What are you listening to? What's captured your attention and your excitement?
Well, I think for me, why I got into marketing was that I was always interested in people and psychology, sociology. I was always really interested in that and kind of how to marry the two. So, recently, this is kind of totally different, but I've really gotten into my artwork, and I've been painting, and I've been needing a creative outlet that was not on a freaking screen
Yeah.
and a keyboard. I wanted to actually draw and because if anybody has tried to write something nowadays after typing all the time, you can see that even your handwriting's slipping, right?
Oh, yeah.
So I was noticing that, and because I think that I always like to be really grounded with everything that I do, and I didn't have something that was grounding me. So I started doing artwork, and just the things that I was learning about using my eyes and how I look at things and how I look at images has just so drastically changed that whenever I see that type of change, I lean all the way in because I like to learn. So, that's pretty much been the main thing that I've been really into lately. I've been painting every single day. I've been taking some instruction as well, and it really helps me kind of center myself before I get into that day in an agency, which you don't really know what the hell's going to happen.
So,
You think you do, but you really don't.
is that your artwork behind you?
Yes, these are art pieces that I have done. These not necessarily my signature style because what the hell do I know what my signature style is? I'm just creating things, right? I'm just seeing what happens, but yeah, I'm showcasing
Yeah,
it.
that's so cool. I can see how that rootedness or that kind of like tactile, embodied practice every day is very grounding, like you said. I'm
Mhm.
curious, what do you think, do you see it impacting you in terms of, like, just calmness in your mind or also but you
Mm,
said that you see the world or you see things differently, but,
yeah.
make that concrete for us. What do you mean?
Uh, I can look at because what happens is, every single day I'm moving as fast as I possibly can through my workday, and I'm looking at a lot of content and I'm consuming a lot of things. I mean, I'm sure everybody out there listening is, you're constantly scrolling and skimming. And I feel like I was scrolling and skimming and missing things. And then people start telling me I was not reading full emails. And I was like, huh.
It was in the email, Chris. It was in the email, didn't you?
Yeah, it was in the email, a and then I started getting really, annoyed that people were saying that to me, and kind of indignant, like, I read everything, but I wasn't, I was skimming, and I felt like I wanted to start looking at the details of things, and I thought, maybe art would be something to lean into. So I actually started out with the whole art thing to really just get this bottled up energy out because sometimes you could be really frustrated, you could be up, you could be down, and I felt like the artwork was kind of giving me a clear spot so I could kind of approach something. And then I was noticing that I was looking at colors differently, I was looking at angles differently, I was looking at pictures differently.
Mm.
But then I was also looking at how I was looking at composition. So even I was looking at the composition of how people were communicating to me. No, which is communication, I guess you can say, is an art form. But I've been really looking at stuff. I'm a total weirdo nerd when it comes to this stuff, but I just find it really interesting how people communicate and how they express themselves. And I think in order for me to understand that, I needed to express myself a little bit more. So that's kind of how it's shown me those fine details in multiple ways.
You've kinda captured my, imagination there. Now I'm thinking
Yep.
about I think about I don't know a lot about art and composition, but I know, like, the rule of thirds or something like that in
Yeah,
con
yeah, that's a thing. Hmm.
so but what is the rule of thirds or what's, like, something like that in a speech or in a talk or in a piece in a I guess there is a form. There's I don't know if you're talking about like a say what you're gonna say it, and then say what you did say or something. Is that a form of composition that you have in mind? Or
Yeah, well, it's kind of like there's something in art, composition, which is called the golden mean, which is where all the action, that's where your attention needs to be drawn. And what I've been trying to do when I'm listening to people is what is their golden mean? Like what are they trying to draw me towards? Even if even if it's kind of like, hey, let's get on a call and let's talk about referrals. And I start talking to them. I'm like, well, they're going to start talking to me about referrals, or they're going to try to sell me on something, or
Mm,
what's their? It's almost like what's their agenda,
right,
but using the art terminology makes me feel less affronted with that, like that manipulation, I guess.
right,
Um, but yeah, there's lots of little details. I mean, when I'm talking about looking at an image or looking at something in nature or outside or wherever the hell you're looking and looking at it, if I wanted to paint that thing, that bright spot is a bright spot, but it's actually white. And then the dark is a different color. And then you have to start looking at things a little bit more with a different set of eyes.
right.
And I feel that that has trained me to look at other things with a different set of eyes and
Right.
keep me fresh in different ways. So it's funny because a lot of people will ask me this question in terms of like, hey, so what's new in your world? And I start talking about this and I'm like, well, that wasn't what I'm thinking you're talking about.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to give me some tips on how to do a digital strategy. Well, darling, there's a lot of those out there. But like what I want to do is, there's ways that you could be more effective in your role by kind of broadening and looking at other venues for expression and skill development.
Yeah. There's a couple connections that I'm making with what you're saying. One is, I like to play basketball, and I
Okay.
find it, like, like you're talking about grounding, like, I mornings where I play basketball, I have better days, and it's partly just
Yeah.
exercise and sweat, but I don't think it's just that. It's also because it's something that I, am totally unself-conscious, like, I get like, flow, it's total flow. That's,
Total flow. Yeah.
and and, it helps throughout the day. The other thing that I re remembered recently or was re-struck by was I just remembered that, man, when I sit in front of a computer to write something deeper or
Yeah.
work on something that's hard to think about, I actually it doesn't work very well, actually. I can crank out kind of a different kind of work. I'm really good at emails, I don't know, like that.
Okay.
But when I stand up and go across my office and sit in my side chair with a pen and paper and my big book, I know what to do in like 5 minutes or 10 minutes of like scribbling and just writing my thoughts out.
Yeah.
It's totally different. And I know that's not a unique experience. Even for me, it's not a unique experience. I
Yeah.
have it regularly over the years, but I forget. I
Right.
forget. I just kind of like try to force myself to sit and type out this thing that I'm supposed, whatever it is I'm working on. That's
Hmm.
requires a deeper, like some creativity and some deeper
Yeah.
thought. And man, it's a waste. I should just get away from the computer
Mhm.
and then come back
Well,
and then come back.
but it's funny, like we are always looking for the answer and the shortcuts when we've already been presented with one. You know what I mean? We've already
Yeah.
experienced some of our aha moments, but we forget them because there's so much noise that pushes us in different directions to look for a new solution when the best solution was already delivered to us. And this is one of the things that I was talking. That's why I was really attracted to your podcast because I'm a habit stacker hardcore.
Ah, okay.
I'm a hardcore habit stacker.
Yeah, okay.
And one of the things that I was finding was for a long time, I would get up and I would struggle to go fall asleep and I would struggle to stay asleep and I'd wake up and I'd have those thoughts of the things that I had to work on or just those thoughts in my head constantly. And then I'd wake up stressed and then I would just get up and go straight to work because I thought, okay, let me just get this off of my mind
Right.
and focus on it. And then before I knew it, I was working from that time all the way through until beyond the time that I was supposed to be finished.
Yeah.
So my day was actually longer and it was more stressful. So I was recommended, I don't know if it was a friend or a therapist that gave this to me, but it was the Miracle Morning. And the Miracle Morning was something that I tried out and I was really following. Are you familiar with the
No, no, unpack it
Bullet-
for me and for everybody.
Okay, it's great. So what it is basically saying that you get up in the morning and there are certain things that you would do every single morning that feed different parts of your intellect or creativity and to de-stress you. So you wake up and you do 15 minutes of exercise, whether it's stretching or tai chi or treadmill or running or whatever. And then you do 10 minutes of meditation, 10 minutes of affirmations, 10 minutes of reading. So it gives you a lot of different things. So I started doing that and I was feeling that the thoughts were going away because I was burning off all of that energy in the morning. So then I was free to be creative. So I did that for a while and I thought, this is cute, but this doesn't fit for me anymore.
Right.
So now what I do is every morning, I get up early. So I'll get up at either 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock in the morning, and I'm sure people out there rolling their eyes and like, oh, I don't get an award for this, folks. But my reward is that I actually get to do what I'm going to tell you. I do. I wake up. I do 25 minutes or a half an hour of exercise. Then I walk the dogs, and then I do 20 minutes of reading, 20 minutes of meditation, 20 minutes of guitar practice, and then 20 minutes of art.
And art, yeah.
And then that's my 2-hour period. Guess what? I've done everything that I was going to put off or talk myself out of.
Right.
And I'm doing it first thing. And guess what? I don't, I have no hate in my heart. I have no ill will towards anyone because my reward is that cup of coffee, which takes me up another level and I'm good to go. And I'm ready to perform my daily duties. And from me doing that, I fall right to sleep. I sleep straight through the night. I wake up and I'm excited to try something out or see what's next on that and that kind of routine. But it really, really was a game changer. And I think just personalizing it to what you think is good for you works. Because some people do like they'll do journaling or something like
Yeah.
that. And personally, I just can't. We've already talked about the power of pen to paper, but this guy gets so bored with it, because I write like a doctor. So I'm writing down and I'm like,
Read
"What?"
it anyway.
I know, right? I can even read it. I'm reading it, and I'm just like I'll have another thought, and I'll go back, and I'm like, "Where the hell am I?" I mean, I can't even read this. So yeah, so writing is gone from it. But yeah, it's been awesome. Yeah.
It is often a lifelong journey to find the things that work, because it does change too, right? Like as circumstances change,
Yeah.
it's worth attention. I know I was going to say there's this
Yeah.
interesting way. I know it made me think about it because you were saying about how you had kind of done everything that you were
Mhm.
going to put off that day, and there's a second order effect there, I think, which is basically it's a statement or it's hard to feel like you are you don't have enough. So a message like, "I don't have enough time to accomplish everything that I need to. I'm
Mhm.
stressed. There's these deadlines are unreasonable," or like, there's just too much going on, all that kind of stuff. It's hard to have those thoughts when you've started the day like that because it's not
Yes.
true. Like you've proven that it's not true right at the beginning, and so you can kind of have a peaceful day. It's kind of I don't know. It's like flipping the bird to busyness, basically. Like
Oh yeah.
screw you. I'm not that busy.
I'm a big fan of flipping the bird to busyness because that is absolutely one of my biggest pet peeves. When you see someone that has maybe no children, no animals, maybe they're just in a happy relationship where they kind of hang out at home a lot, and they're like, "Oh, I'm so slammed." What the hell are you doing? Can you like give me like your timesheet like of what you did every minute in the day? I bet it wasn't super efficient.
Yeah,
It drives me crazy. It's right up
yeah,
there
it
with
is,
people
Chris.
that are late. That drives me crazy too.
Yeah, well, that's right. Let me ask you this. So you run Go,
Yep.
and like every company, I'm assuming, if we're honest, there are you're great at everything.
Mm-hmm.
But there are some things, there's maybe one or two things that you're extra, like basically you would put yourself, your company into the ring with anybody in the world and think, we have a chance of winning the Olympics of X.
Mm-hmm.
What, or maybe another way to ask is, what do you personally, and maybe what does Go the agency understand better or as well as 99.999% of people in the world? What are some of your superpowers?
Our superpower is it's funny because I've trained all of my team on the superpower that I have. So I guess it's mentoring or Stockholm syndrome, whatever you'd prefer. But it is it's
Look
the
it up. Look it up. You don't get the joke. Look it up.
yeah, please, please. But it's listening to people and trying to understand where they're coming from.
Mm,
So what I do is I'm dealing with marketing. So in order to market anything, whether it be digital or traditional or whatever the hell it is, or PR, whatever, you need to understand exactly how the person that you're going to be delivering the message to feels, acts, what interests them, what piques their interest. But you also have to understand what the client is motivated by, what their truth is, and getting down to that golden mean, so to speak, of what their true message is. And that is what we do. So the difference is that an experience with us versus another agency, I'm not going to corporate speak you. This is it. This is my speed. I don't change for anybody. I don't put a suit on to present because this is my life and I don't want to do it.
mm,
So it's my own agency. That's kind of one of the great parts about it. But it really is the ability to make that human connection that makes the collaboration stronger so they're more truthful so that when we develop campaigns, they're actually representative of what the company thinks. And then we know how the consumer is going to act already because we've done our due diligence. And then we make that connection and it's successful. So I could say, yes, social media is our number one service or email marketing or ads. The thing is that it's when we start dealing with a client, even if they're coming in for an hour-long consultation, they become a full-time client because we listen to them and we care. And if it's not a good fit, sayonara,
mm.
you know? And I think that that's really kept it as a really long-term client relationships that are not just these people don't know that there's other things out there. They don't need to look, you know?
So, that deep listening and understanding other people, taking the time and the attention, which
Mhm.
by the way, I think is, I don't know, maybe not to get too philosophical, but it's hard to tell the difference between attention and love,
No. Yeah.
right? It's
I
basically like this is what it is. Anyway, so the I would did you learn it or did you were you born with it? And if you were born with it, how do you teach it? Because um or do you hire for it, right? What I'm driving at is that people
yeah.
who just have a knack sometimes um aren't good at passing it on. Like, what the real thing is when you can teach something that somebody doesn't have a knack for, and then they become good at it, even though they're not naturally gifted in it. So, how do you teach paying attention?
Um, hold everybody accountable.
Mm,
You know what? The thing that nobody wants to do, the thing that leaders don't really love to do, they love to give orders, but they don't like to review the results of those orders. And they don't like to, they'll just rather say, ah, it's terrible, or I don't like this, or go back. And I mean, that's obviously a tyrannical leader, but also leaders are like, I'm too busy. I'm just, so what does that say right there? That leader doesn't give a shit about what you're coming out. You've just been hired to give them something. They're going to say like whatever, and it doesn't mean they're not connected to it. So why should you be connected to it? Why should you even give a shit? You know, why should you care? And so what I do is when I'm on a call with my team and the client, before we're on that call, I tell them all of the things that you need to listen to, that how I'm going to bring them closer to me and how it's going to open up a door to a different level of understanding about how they approach something. And then after the call, we dissect that. So the thing is that if a client has a really good, strong bond with you, this is not manipulation. This is I learned I've always been intuitive and kind of like empathic. But when it comes to clients, it really took me owning the agency because I always noticed that any job that I ever had when I was growing up, all the way to this, I was always fired,
oh,
always fired,
yeah,
always fired. And the reason was it because I was stealing or I was being untruthful? No, I could go in there and be the most successful person in that very quickly. And the reason why was that I respected everybody and I work hard. and I listened, and I can remember details on your life. And I'm interested because I understand what those connections can bring. So I always thought that that was kind of like a fault of mine. Like it's like I was too egotistical, or I was too driven, or I was
Hold on,
too
hold on.
pushy.
I missed the connection. So you were all those great things, and so you were fired?
I was fired because what happens I was in a lot of organizations, they don't need another leader. They don't need someone else that's a high performer, because if you have a group of people that really respect you and you are the leader of that, they either mobilize you to their cause or they get rid of you because you're a threat. And because I was so effective, I was more threat for them.
Hmm.
So, and here's the deal, whatever. Was my feelings ever hurt? No, I don't care. These were jobs that were, I was climbing with them. But when I got to so I knew even before I started the agency, I worked in the music industry for a while. I lived internationally, and I was finding out the music industry is not for me. Why? Because people were lying and backstabbing. I don't need that. I don't need that.
Right.
Love you. Don't need it. So I found a seat for myself at the table that suits me, which is mine. And then I started dealing with lots of clients, and I was seeing, oh my gosh, everybody has an agenda. Everybody has these agendas that they're not going to tell me because I'm this random marketing person that they got connected to through marketing or referral. And now they are just going to tell me what they think that I want to hear to make them sound intelligent. So what was happening is I thought they were intelligent, and I thought that they knew what they were talking about when they didn't know anything. They're hiring me because they don't know how to do this.
Yeah.
So I was finding that I was just not butting heads, but I wasn't getting anywhere. And then I started to change my approach, and I started to listen to them, and I started to ask probing questions. Never take anything at face value.
Mm.
If someone sends me an email that anybody could read as angry, they are getting a call from me, and I'm going to ask them how they're doing.
Mm.
Not because I'm going to be condescending and get them into the corner, which could be a tactic. No, I'm upset by that. So I want to see why you're upset so we can fix this. And that's not what agency people tend to do. That's not how my industry tends to go. So this is why I get strong referrals. This is why I have long-term client relationships. And also the team stays a long time as well, because I want everyone to feel supported. Everyone wins. I mean, not everyone gets a trophy or something, but everyone has to do good work to get it. But it's something that I had to develop further through the agency work, but then I was able to teach my team through experience.
Yeah, I so often, well, it's hard. It's hard to be. I've worked with a lot of young SaaS founders. Maybe they're even raising money,
Okay.
and so they're having to present well
Hmm.
constantly
Yep.
to their team, to the investors they're pitching, to customers. That we're trust us with your trust us and pay for our software, etc. And what that translates to is I started asking them questions about their goals and execution, how it's going in terms of how they're leading, and it can be really hard to get anywhere authentic
Oh yeah.
as they're so invested. And I understand, like I have a lot of sympathy because they're so invested and they're in that mode of like, yeah, well, we're basically we're winning, we're nailing it on all fronts all the time, and so it
Yeah.
does take patience and compassion and also, probing, to get kind of behind to get underneath that presenting well.
Yeah. So here's a really great angle for that. Okay. So one of the things when I'm dealing with that type of crew, what I would do, because that's not only in SaaS people, there's a lot of startup people that are like that, that are looking for their funding, and they have VCs and they have all this stuff that are kind of breathing down their neck. I ask them about those people. I ask them about what their attitudes are. I ask them how their meetings go. I ask them about that relationship.
Mm.
And then what I do is I provide handles for them through my service. So if they're asking me like, okay, well, our one of our VCs says that we needed to get a LinkedIn campaign going immediately. Why does the VC person need that? What's their background? What success have they seen before that has triggered this thought? And then they would say like, why you ask? We're the company. And I would say like, you're definitely my client, but you're not going to be my client if they pull your money. So we have to work on this together. We need to get 3 wins, one for you, one for me, and one for them.
Right.
So how can I help you pitch? I want to help you pitch this up. I want to give you information and KPIs that they want to see that are impactful for you. So how we can get we can get all of the optics right from the get-go so that I'm going to bat for you. Not that I'm just like the social media company that's putting Facebook posts out. Like it's deeper than that.
Yeah.
And that kind of kinship opens up some interesting information. Also, referrals come from that pretty fast after that relationship is gained. Just because, like, if I'm working with a team and I'm talking to the marketing person and I'm on a call where every single thing is an action item for the marketing person and there's a one person department, do you know that I want to support that person? I want to do anything I can to help them because I know how that is. And so as soon as I show that affinity, they're like, oh, you're one of us.
Right.
And then things flow better. So that reduces the drag on your projects or drags on conversations, misunderstandings and anger. They go to bat for you when you're not in the room. Like, this is what you want.
Right. And, those conversations that you're describing are so useful for people to, it's a really good line of questioning because it helps people to ask that question like, yeah, what is it actually? Get more curious about the people in their life and start to tailor what they're doing so that it gives people what they need,
Totally.
I had a great experience. So my two sons have started to do a little busking at the local grocery store.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. And, it's quite amazing, actually. People are very generous because 'cause they're kinda cute, and so I won't, yeah, anyway, they've been quite pleased with how that's gone so far, but why did I bring this up? Oh, yeah. So the grocery store eventually said, "You can't do that here anymore. It's not because we don't want you, it's because some other people, some adults and other people are starting to, request that they busk, and we don't wanna say, and we don't want them to. And so we're just gonna do this blanket rule when nobody can busk, right? They took the
Mm.
kind of the easy path out. So it was very interesting to talk to my son about how he could proceed in that situation,
Mm.
trying to understand was, well, what is it that the grocery store manager is worried about? So I try to enumerate like all of this, the predicament that he's in,
Hmm.
and then propose a solution that, like, you're gonna have to in life, in this situation and in life, you're gonna have to solve your problem by solving everybody else's problem. You
Yeah,
have to, like,
totally.
think it through think it through so that the manager, because he's not gonna do the thinking for you. It's not that important to him. Nope. You gotta present this solution that he can just say, "Actually, yeah, that'll work. That could be our policy." But, something like, "Kids can do it and adults can't." That's just a blanket policy or something, right? That makes it so that that they're not having to say no to individual people that they don't want out there. So,
Absolutely.
anyway, yeah, it's just it's such a it's not immediate mode that a lot of people drop into.
Well, I mean, just in that example right there, the number one thing that all grocery stores are looking for is local attrition. They're all looking for the local community to feel connected to them in some way, shape, or form.
Right.
So if they were aligned with some sort of charitable giving, that then it could be co-signed off by the store, then you got kind of goodwill.
Yeah.
You can put something behind it, and then obviously there's politics to every level because it's like, oh, I'm doing Make a Wish. I don't believe in Make a Wish. You know what I mean? Like there's people out there that are obviously gonna be dissenters, but there's always a way, and it's looking for like what that manager is just taking the easy way out because it's too difficult.
Yeah.
But what if you presented them with a way that it could make them look good, make the store look good, and you could still do what you want to do?
I was to my son, I was like, "So make up an organization called the Buskers Association that you're
There
a
you go.
part of, and so it's not just you, it's all, it's like a youth program, and
Uh-huh.
and make a little plaque, like, have it all ready."
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
so maybe I got a little more excited about it than he did. He just moved to a coffee shop,
My kind of guy.
and they're happy to have him, so. Yeah, that was maybe he's the smarter one, actually. That was the easiest. Yeah.
That's good.
Oh, time is flying here. I wanted to ask you also, kind of on the business leadership side of things. So you you probably picked up via the my presence on the interwebs that goal setting, execution, accountability, these kinds of topics are very close to my heart. I'm always kind of doing field
Yeah.
research, what's working for people. And so I'm curious about that from for you. Like what when it comes to goal setting and execution, accountability, what is your philosophy that you take with your team at Go?
We work together on collaborative goals that will help us feel successful in the work that we're doing and them feeling my team members feeling successful, that will impress the client and will give the whole campaign lift so that we can go into bigger and better things and there could be more opportunities to expand the client or to help them out in other areas. And what I do is don't overcomplicate the goals because overcomplicated goals are BS. Because you can have a reach goal that you have milestones against, but if you really want to make it easy, just make some goals every single month that you have to hit and then track them on a weekly basis and report on them. That's it. I'm not like, give me 500 reports on every damn thing that we're doing because, that's who, because I'd never read them. That's why I don't ask for things I don't read. So and what do I want to do for my clients? I want to get these goals that we've got them to agree on, that we're collaborative and we built for them for their success. And I want to show them the progress every Friday. So on Monday, when they have their morning meeting, they can just read the email rather than look through a report that's 75 pages. And that has revolutionized our goal setting and goal achievement because we have to process those numbers every week and everybody has to look at them. All the different departments have to have a hand in it. So everyone's looking at it. And guess who else is looking at it? The client, the direct result. Anybody can talk about the data. That's not something that's normal. And that helps us make the goals and set them and achieve them. Which, I mean, it sounds like it's a perfect world and I'm getting my goals every single month. Rub a lamp. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
But we know where we are all the time. There's no surprises. And I think that,
The way you've set up there is definitely it's not at the end of the month. Oh, right, right. There we were going to do that. That's the worst case.
oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah. There's always that, right? There's always the I gotta turn around. And and my viewpoint is I take the month out of 100%. Every week's 25% at a minimum that you have to reach towards the goal. So if we're on week one and it's 5%, fail. We need to figure this out. Now, what's the plan? Tell me on Monday. And what that does is that gives us a game to play at the agency with the
Right.
team. But the client doesn't need to know that. They just see that we're really well connected and we have a good time. But we do it through gamifying a lot of the accountability actions that we have to take.
Yeah. I think you've landed in a really powerful place, right? The cadence, the monthly goal and the weekly cadence.
Yeah.
There's a lot of research actually that shows that uh, regular deadlines make a big difference, even if
But
they're synthetic. Even if you made them up, it helps. It helps humans. Turns
it
out.
does well, you have to know what's coming up next. And if something's too far off, you're going to put it off and do it in the last minute. I mean, this is not just for college students that are cramming for a test or an exam. This is what we do we've done this since we were born.
Well, look,
I'm sure I was a few weeks late because I didn't want to come out. You know what I mean? It's kind of how it
right.
just goes. So I think having these short conversations on a regular basis towards the goal, we can see it. We can feel it a little bit more. Feels real.
Yeah. When you've had to hold people accountable because they're not performing,
Mhm.
this- have you ever what have you learned about that along the way? Have you ever made a mistake, and what did that look like? And then, and how do you do it now? What's your kind of approach there?
Like a mistake in holding people accountable?
Yeah,
Yeah, I have. I was too tough. I was
yeah,
too firm. I was too firm. So I used to be very firm and I used to be a lot more businesslike. And I think that this kind of like as you age, you kind of loosen up a little bit. And you kind of see life through a different lens and, all that kind of good stuff. Because this conversation I'm having with you right now, I would not be having the same conversation with you when I first started the agency like 17 years ago. I was a different person
mm,
and I was much more high strung. And I learned that Nobody likes that. Nobody that doesn't motivate people. Because I'm not dealing with my generation. I'm dealing with generations that are behind me, that are coming up. And this is where I began to find out there's different communication skills. And it's not woke language or they're only motivated. You have to give them an award every single time that they turn up. These are stereotypes that are true to an extent, but I had to adjust my way of communication a lot over the last 17 years from even like the whole DEI thing that was coming up and kind of blew up. And that was another thing that we were working with DEI clients and we had to totally change how we talk to have
Uh,
conversations in meetings. And I love that stuff. I love it. I find I'm thinking about things in a totally different way. I agree or disagree. Who cares? I'm getting exposed to it. And that has helped me kind of soften my approach.
mm,
So nowadays, if I'm holding somebody accountable, it has to get really bad before I would do anything firm. And
right.
even when I'm firm, I always say, take the L, draw a line under it, and move on.
Right.
Okay? That's it. It's not going to be like, you're losing your job tomorrow. That's not it. But you got to have a firm response to a poor action that could cost business, which then could affect the livelihood of everybody else on your team. So, and I don't try to frame it like, oh, no one's going to get healthcare if you keep making this mistake. I mean, that's not that. I mean, anyone out there wants to try and let me know how that goes. But um, no, I just try to listen and try to hear them and then tell them what they've done wrong and be explicit with examples.
I think it's a good combination, Chris, right? Like what I like said there is take the L. So it's not like skirting the issue, right? Like
No.
take the L. You're like, it was a miss. It was a miss. Um, but then let's move on, right? So you're kind of you're putting in context for how, in a way, coaching them on how to feel about it,
Yes.
right?
And then when they come back afterwards, because after you have that tough discussion, that's when you're going to see who the true person is that you just dealt with. And that will they ask for a raise? That is the number one thing that a lot of people will do. They will use that tactic, which drives me freaking crazy because I can't get that straight in my head how that's good. But it's a whole psychology of why people do that. And but if they,
And so just to clarify, so they mess up, you hold them accountable to it, encourage them to move on, and the next thing they do is ask for a raise.
yep,
Huh,
they'll do that, or they'll get a raise and then immediately start screwing up.
right.
So that's why, like, it's so funny because I was talking to a friend of mine that owns a PR agency, and we're talking about wage increases, and I said, "Man, I hate this subject because," and she's like, "Why? I mean, things are going good for you. Like, you should be rewarding your team." I'm like, as soon as I do that, they're gonna either screw up or they're going to like something's gonna be weird about the relationship. So it's just funny. I've seen that a lot. And I had somebody that was oh gosh, this was probably about 7 years ago. I had this one girl that was phenomenal. She was so good. She was so sweet and so nice and so just great. And I wanted to develop her. We're still a boutique agency. We never reached the heights of 200 employees and stuff. So she came in and she was doing this hardcore negotiation with me. And she was asking for double what she was making. And she was an entry level employee. And I'm just like, oh my God, go fly guy. And I said to her in that thing, I said, okay, this isn't going to happen because this is nuts. Okay, so how the world works is that you would get like a percentage increase in raise, you would
Right.
get more responsibilities, and that's how we do it. You don't double your raise because you woke up one day and asked it. I said, so who's coaching you?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. 7 years ago, so it wasn't ChatGPT, but it's somebody. Whoa.
Oh my gosh, that is even funnier. Okay, so I got cover letters because we were hiring recently. They left the first line or the last line in their cover letter. So it was like, here's your results. Let me know if you'd like any edits. Hi, Chris. I love the Go Agency. It's so cool there. I love your culture. I'm just like, you gotta be kidding me, brother. Like, come on. But say la vie. That's the world we live in.
Chris, it's been great having you. I appreciate you coming on the podcast. It's been
Yeah, sure.
fun to talk about Go and about I mean, we talked about covered a lot of territory about some philosophical things about attention and about leadership. So, I know you're a busy guy, and it's not
Mhm.
nothing to take out some time to come on a podcast. So I appreciate you doing that.
Yeah, no problem. It's been a total pleasure, Scott.
Let's stay in touch, Chris.
All right. Absolutely.